Hey everybody, welcome back to the Midwest Gaming Classic. We're here at the Dogcast, and we have a guest, Katzer. We're here to talk about import gaming and saving some money.
Yeah, because with everything else going up in price, who doesn't really absolutely love spending more on your hobbies, right? First and foremost, I just want to take a second and say thank you to everybody here at the Midwest Gaming Classic 2022. From the attendees, to the panelists, to the organizers, to all the vendors and everything. Thank you all for putting on such an amazing show. We could not do this without each and every one of you, so seriously, thank you all. It is great to be back here in April when we can watch the Brewers destroy the Cubs.
Oh, you just did that.
See, because you have to remember, not only am I a YouTuber who loves modern and retro video games, I am actually a proud Milwaukee Brewers fan from the area.
Oh, welcome to Milwaukee.
Can we call security on those? I don't want to call them gentlemen because that's a very loose.
Get him, that guy. Tackle.
So yeah, it's the whole thing. The idea here is there are so many ways that you can play and collect for so many different systems now to save money. And the biggest way that I have found for common games is to collect Japanese import games. You know, there's some ways that you need to go ahead and either modify a system or a cartridge or something along those lines, but we're gonna walk you through the steps of how you can go ahead and do that.
I'm very interested, Gary.
So let's start off with the 8-bit system. So the Nintendo Entertainment System is what so many of us grew up with. I had one, absolutely loved it. Now, in Japan, it was called the Famicom, or Family Computer, and as you can see on screen here, so Super Mario 3 between the US and the Japanese market, essentially the same games, but there are some actual regional differences. Like, for example, if you have the Tanuki cap in Super Mario 3, you hit a Goomba, what happens? You don't know.
I haven't played that version yet.
You don't know. So on the US version, Mario goes back one step on his power-up. So he goes from being able to fly, just being Super Mario, then he gets hit again, he goes down to standard-sized Mario.
Yeah.
On the Japanese version, you get hit once, it actually takes you all the way back down to Mini Mario.
Huh.
So you lose all of your power-ups.
So what difficulty?
Yep. So when they launched the Nintendo Entertainment System here in the US, they weren't sure how popular it was going to be or how it would work because of the fact they had the video game crash of 1983. So the initial titles for this Nintendo Entertainment System actually were Famicom games, and that's the smaller Super Mario Brothers that you see there. And from a physical standpoint, the way the games differ is a Famicom game is made up of 60 pins for contacts. In the US, it's 72 pins, so it's a slightly wider cartridge. Above and beyond that, it's the exact same game. So if you can somehow get from 72 to 60, you can play Japanese import games here in the States.
Well, how do we do that, Gary?
I am glad that you asked. Such a wise man. So there is what is called a 60 to 72 pin adapter, and I actually have one right here. And what it does is it allows you to connect a Famicom game in the top, and then you can plug this into a standard Nintendo Entertainment System, a top loader, or any NES-compatible clone system. So
would the top loader be more convenient, I'm guessing?
it absolutely would be. Now, for the front loader, or the toaster, as a lot of us call it, the gray box that look like a VCR, that's why this has this little purple hang tag on there, so you can actually slide in and then pull it back out. But, I mean, this is just, and these are cheap. 10, 12 bucks, and I've seen them for sale here on the floor at a lot of different vendors, so very easy to play Famicom import games on a Nintendo Entertainment System. Now, this also unlocked the possibility in Japan, they had what was called the Famicom Disk System, where it was a peripheral that in Japan, The Legend of Zelda, Super Mario Brothers 2, Kid Icarus, and a number of other games came out on this. It looked like a 3.5-inch floppy disk. Well, with this adapter, you can actually connect the adapter from the disk drive to this to play on your NES top loader. It will not work on the front loader just because of clearance. It doesn't have enough clearance. But you can use this, and this is actually what I use on my system to play my import disk system games through my HDMI modded top loader NES, and it works great.
I need to get one of these. I am surprised I have not. I've dived into a few other the Japanese, like Sega Saturn.
Well,
we'll get to.
We will get to Sega Saturn, and I will give you tips before this panel is over where you can get this.
We need these tips. That's why we got you, Gary.
Now, in addition, the beautiful thing too is you also have just the Japanese console. Here on screen you can see we have what's called the AV Famicom. That's the gray box that looks like the top loader NES. And then on the right, my favorite system of this era, it's called a Sharp Famicom Twin. So Sharp, like Sharp TVs, radios, they actually work with Nintendo to make this 2-in-1 system. Remember the disc system I told you about?
Yeah.
So this has a disc system built into it, and it also has a cartridge slot. The beautiful thing about both of these is because they use composite video, the red, the white, and the yellow cables, you can play any of these on a modern American TV, and you don't need to worry about voltage variance. So, we were talking about the Famicom Twins here and the Famicom AV. What's nice on both of these, again, is you can plug them right into your standard composite yellow, red, white to connect it up to your TV. The voltage is within variance so that you don't have to worry. In Japan, they use 100 volt versus we're 110 to 120. It's within, 8.5%, 10% variance. Math is hard on the spot, but you can use just the standard AC adapters in there. Adam Korlick is in the house and knows that this is the case, that you can use Japanese power supplies off of an American system or off of American electrical system and be just fine.
Oh, look at this.
So up next, we're going to go to the 16-bit era and talk about, first of all, the Super NES and the Super Famicom, but we are going to talk about the Genesis and the Mega Drive a little bit because Adam Korlick loves the Mega Drive.
Who doesn't love the Mega Drive?
Whoa, hot take.
Get him, Adam. Get him.
Do we have the wrestling ring set up again upstairs?
This is
no holds barred.
Backstage brawl.
So if you look on screen here, you can see two cartridges. The top one, many of us should be familiar with. This is a Super Nintendo cartridge. The one on the bottom is the Super Famicom. That's basically what they got over in Japan. Now, one thing of note with everything that I'm talking about here, I'm talking about playing Japanese games in the US. In Europe, they have a format called PAL. It operates at a different frequency, and while some US and Japanese systems will work with PAL, generally you're going to have a bad time. Kind of like if you French fry when you're supposed to pizza. South Park reference for anybody there? You're going to have a bad time. So the way Nintendo, wow.
Whoa.
All right, Mr. McMahon, I got to take some bass out of that voice there. So the way that Nintendo dealt with region locking, essentially back in the day, was they changed the shape of the cartridge. So that is why the Super Famicom cartridge is a different shape than what we have here in the US. Here's another shot of it. It's the same physical board, though, inside the cartridge. So one of the fixes, if you want to play an import game in the US, is get a broken US game and swap the board. And it'll drop right in. You won't have any issues with it. And if you look here too, on some of like the top, the Super Famicom, you have pins that kind of go all the way across versus on the one on the bottom, which just has the pins in the center. That's just a manufacturing difference, doesn't mean anything. So both will work with the other. So what you can do is Game Genies or Game Sharks can be used simply as pass-throughs for import games. Now, on the Game Genie, like the one on the left here, if you see the red label and everything, there's actually a hinge there. I've opened this up and removed that hinge, and by doing that, and there's also a couple of tabs towards the top here before Coca-Cola discontinued them. Man, we're going deep cuts on this one. Tab soda. So you just take a file or a side cutters, cut those down on the side right here, and then the Super Famicom game will go right onto a Game Shark or Game Genie. And then the same thing for the one on the right, that's for the Genesis, gets you around, Sega did the same thing where they changed the shape of the cartridges to region lock Japan and the EU and the US. So basically with this, you can just plug in a Mega Drive cartridge, put it into a Genesis, use it as a pass-through, you're good to go.
So you ever, the two tabs in the internal, like the console?
Now, that is a way that you can go ahead, and I'm going to talk about that here a little bit because the Nintendo 64 is the exact same way.
Oh, really?
And actually, we'll jump to the N64, and as you can see, we have a Japanese cartridge on the top, US on the bottom, and you can see there's little cutouts in the back of each of the cartridge. The location of those cutouts determine the region of the cartridge itself. Above and beyond like the clock speed of a PAL game versus NTSC. So what you can do on the N64 or on the Super NES is you can cut the tabs that key into those out. Now, I'm not a fan of doing that because you're destroying classic hardware.
Yeah.
But there's an easy fix. Again, you can use a Game Shark Game Genie on the N64. Now, I have heard reports, I've not experienced it myself, that the Game Shark can cause voltage issues and other issues basically being used as a pass-through for a Japanese game on a US console. The best way to do it is by installing one of these guys here. This is an N64 region-free mod. So basically what this does is it is 3D printed. I actually make these available through my website. Links available upon request. But what it does is it removes the tabs in the back, like right there and right there, right there and right there. So basically it's just a flush surface. It doesn't have to engage with those tabs cut out in the back of the cartridge at all. Completely bypasses it, region-free, super easy to do, and the only thing you'll need to put this in is a series of tools that are called game bits. Think of an inside-out Allen wrench. So the Allen hex is actually on the nut driver itself that you would use to remove it, and then it has like a hex-type screw that would be on the bottom of the system that basically you have to crack the system open. This is held in by Phillips screws just on two sides. Pop the old one out, put the new one in, screw it back together. It's a 10-minute job. It's super easy to do. And then, again, you unlock the full library between Japan and the US. Questions?
Let's do that.
We can do that.
No, let's do that.
And I want to talk about one other system here real quick, too, and that is the Sega Saturn. Now, the Sega Saturn is a unique system because manufacturers have created these guys here. This is called an action replay cartridge. So fans of the Sega Saturn know that that's a disc-based system. Does not have a hard drive on it unless we're talking about the Sega Pluto Adam Korlick. Because the Pluto actually had the first hard drive ever on a video game system.
What are we going to do about that?
Well, what the Action Replay does, first of all, is it gives you storage for your games, kind of like a memory card, like what the PS2, PS3 had. The other thing that this does is it unlocks the region lock on the discs. Mm-hmm. So you can go ahead and play Japanese games on a US system and vice versa, super easy just by picking this up. And in addition to unlocking the region, it has all those other features. The GameCube, you can modify the hardware. It's basically a jumper on the board that this actually requires some pretty serious soldering skills, but you can actually solder a jumper on the inside, and a Japanese system can then play US games and vice versa. Let's see. For the Wii, you can unlock the system through a system of modifications called the Homebrew Channel, where basically you can create backups of your discs to play off of an external hard drive or SD card. You can also region unlock the system. You can make it so your system will play DVDs. Did you know the Wii can play DVDs?
No, but it's about time, right, guys?
You know why the Wii can't play DVDs? No. Because Nintendo didn't want to pay the licensing fee to be a DVD-compliant device.
What is the fee? Do you know?
I have no idea. It's kind of like why if you see on a lot of different HDMI adapters, they call them an HD adapter. Sure. Because HDMI is a specific group or certification. Okay. Same thing with Bluetooth. If you've noticed in the last 5-10 years, you've seen more devices that are 2.4 or 5 gigahertz and not Bluetooth. If you put that Bluetooth label on something, you got to pay a licensing fee. So in the end of the day, why would someone want to do this? And in the end, it's all about saving money and getting more games for less. Because you like playing less for games, don't you?
Yes, I do, Gary.
It's not a hard. Come on, you can keep up.
So, the Action Replay is something I've had one for maybe 8-10 years now.
Yeah.
And most of my Saturn library are Japanese games because I didn't want to pay $50 at the time for Die Hard arcade. I get Dynamite Deca for at the time.
Panzer Dragoon is another one. Yeah.
I have noticed a little spike in the Japanese games recently. but it's still not anywhere near the American library.
Right. And there's also, and I don't know if you've heard of this, have you heard of the Pseudo Saturn?
No.
So the Pseudo Saturn is very similar to an action replay, but it also allows you to play backed up games. So if you have rare games, and I don't mean from Rare owned by Microsoft, who made Battletoads, which is a terrific title, but I mean rare games that you don't want to risk damaging, scratching, you can actually create a backup using a DVD burner and then play that if you have it's called Pseudo Saturn.
How new is that?
It's not super new, but it's been more refined in probably the last 4 to 5 years.
So is that more popular than the action replay now?
No, this is still, because it's more expensive. So this is a lot cheaper. You're looking $30-$35 for an action replay, at least when I bought mine.
Yeah, I think that's same when I paid.
Yeah, and so if they're $50 now, it's a lot. I think the Pseudo Saturns go for $90 to $100, which still isn't if you're looking to preserve your collection, isn't a whole lot in the long run.
Especially when one of those games nowadays can be worth
over $100 on its own.
Yeah, Saturn, forget about it.
No, don't you know they're here? We're in Milwaukee. We're not on the East Coast there, eh?
Hey.
Yeah, we got, where the streetcar bends the corner around there by the bubbler there.
Over by the thing there, eh?
Did I ever tell you that I went to the UCLA? That's the University of Cudahy down by the lake there almost.
There is. I can only do it for so long.
You can, it's something, you grew up here, you just slip right back into it.
Long.
So the reason behind this, again, is just to save money. And on screen now, I use a tool called, do you ever use price charting?
Yeah.
Okay, so price charting is one tool. There's an app for cell phones and tablets called Genie that kind of gives you the idea of how much different things should cost in an ideal world. So the Famicom version of the original Super Mario Brothers loose should be about $15. Complete in box, about $41, and if it's new, completely sealed, $250, $260. For a loose cartridge of the NES version of Super Mario Brothers, $18, so $4 more, which not huge, but it adds up over time.
Yeah.
A complete in-box price is $272, and brand new in the box is $3,635. A little bit of a difference from 200 and some.
Yeah, but think about like 5 to 10 years ago, how much of a difference it was.
Oh, yeah.
Like my Sega Saturn, like I have all the fighters for it, and I paid probably $5-10 a game.
Yep.
And it's night and day now. But it's still cheaper.
It is cheaper, but it's we've all knows everything has gone up in price. So let's talk about one of the most controversial games of all time, Mario 64.
Oh no, you didn't.
Are you a fan or not?
It doesn't hold up as well, but I'll always have a special place for it.
I don't disagree with you. So in Japan, they actually have 2 versions of Mario 64 because they actually went through and patched some bugs. They also, if you remember, the launch edition and the version we got in the US didn't have Rumble support. So in Japan, they released what they call the Shindo Pack version, and that actually supports the Rumble Pack. Playing Mario 64 with the Rumble Pack, totally different experience. It's really neat.
I'm going to have to take you up on that, Gary.
And yes, I have one. So the standard version of Mario 64, the Japanese version, about $21. The Shindo Pack version with more features is actually about $18, so $3 less. And that's just loose cartridge. Complete in box, you're looking $38 and $32, and then new price sealed $105 to $390. For the US versions, Mario 64 is a $32 game, so $12 more. Same game. Complete in box, $112, new over $3,000.
That's it?
Same game, yeah. Yeah, I'll take 4. The player's choice version, which is they've always got the different color artwork on the boxes. Oh, yeah. The loose cartridge is $36. The complete in box is $115, and new in box is $1,200. I mean, it's easy to see, and especially on a lot of these platformers, you don't need to know like a Japanese. RPGs, language becomes a barrier. But for Star Fox, for Mario's, for that type of game, there's no language barrier because it's not text-driven.
Honestly, I think the best thing is that there are games made for these consoles in different countries that were not released in America. I think that's the best part.
Absolutely. You look just on the Famicom, their version of Super Mario Brothers 2 is based on Super Mario 1 that we got here in the States.
Oh, yeah,
the version
levels.
that we got was Doki Doki Panic reskinned, which was a Famicom Disk System game. And, again, talking region differences, Doki Doki Panic, you can't run in the game. The characters
really?
are incapable of running. Just another kind of weird
I couldn't play
regional
the game
difference. And to beat the game for Doki Doki Panic, you have to beat it with all 4 characters.
Really?
Yeah. Versus you could beat it with just Mario, Toad, Luigi, or the princess.
So you replay the final boss battle with all 4, or you play the whole
No,
game?
you have to beat the game 4 times, like the Horseman.
That's what I'm talking about.
Come on, little Ric Flair woo.
Flair.
I thought I heard a woo out there.
I was woo. Come on, give us a woo.
There we go.
I got 2. That was great.
Dirtiest player in the game. So I know a lot of people too, it's like, okay, great, I can save money getting imports. Where can I save money and actually get these imports? My recommendation personally, stay away from eBay. You never know what you're gonna get. It's kind of like a box of chocolates.
Yeah.
Because you can get someone who, reproduction cartridges sell as legits all the time on eBay and you have no recourse. So a formerly local guy by the name of Kevin runs a store called Japan Retro Direct. He's actually located in Japan. It's japanretrodirect.ocnk.com. So he's from around Madison, now lives outside of Tokyo. Runs an online store, has got different shipping options depending on how fast or how slow and how much he wants to pay. But clean products, good products, fair pricing, inventory always changes. I cannot recommend Japan Retro Direct enough. You like to see good things happen for good people, and he's good people.
I'll look that up for sure, Gary.
Now, the other one is actually a booth here at the show, and I cannot recommend these people highly enough. Gamers for Gamers. They are here every year. They have amazing products, and they didn't ask me to do this. I have bought from them every time, every show that I've gone to that I've seen them there. I know I'm getting good quality at a fair price, and it's one of those things you like seeing good things happen for good people.
Yeah.
And they're willing to help you out if they know that you're looking for something. They'll try to help you find it, and they're here on site.
So let's get some imports then.
You
can get some imports right here at the MGC.
You can, and I've actually picked up. So, perfect example, I picked up a copy. In Japan, Mega Man is known as Rockman. Rockman 4 in the US, $50 to $60 game. Japanese version, half.
There you go. Do the math.
So I picked one up here at a booth earlier today, and I'll be taking a copy of Rockman 4 home. So. And then if I've done a bunch of videos on how to mod systems, play systems, just kind of looking over both import and US systems as well. You can always follow me on the YouTube, as they have it there, as the kids like to say there.
Got YouTube?
The YouTube there.
Aye.
Not to be confused with the Youpers and the 30 Point Buck and, second week of deer camp and all that stuff there, eh?
Yeah, eh?
So I don't know if you all got any other questions there. I kind of mixed the Southern and the Northern there with the y'all.
Yeah. Of all these, import, ways, which console would be most essential?
It really depends on what you're looking and enjoying to play from a library standpoint. Sure. Like for me, growing up, child of the '80s, I still remember. I remember, the Brewers going to the pennant in '82. I remember all the years that Bart Starr led the Packers to failure, which was a long time. But I also remember the '85 Bears, and that's why I'm a Bears fan. But anyways, so for me, I like collecting for the Super Famicom and for the original Famicom. The games they're somewhat less complex, so they're more accessible to more people without having a language barrier involved. There is a gentleman who runs a mod shop called Voltar, and he actually provides language patch kits and a service where he will translate your Japanese games into English if you want. I don't know what he charges for them. I know he does tremendous work, and he has come up with a lot of different mods and techniques that we have come up with in the community and now rely on each and every day. And he's an asset to the community. I absolutely love his work.
That's great. That's awesome. But yeah, you kind of give me the itch, the bug to go dig for some.
Well,
imports.
and one other shout out I want to make is down the hallway that way, we have the folks from Video Games Monthly. And if you're not familiar with VGM, and they don't know that I'm doing this right now, but they actually offer a monthly service where from $35 up to, I think, $80 is their highest tier. You can get 3, 4, 5, I think it's 7 or 10 retro video games sent to your home. And it includes imports. So you can get Famicom,
really?
Super Famicom, import, N64 titles, and you can tell them what you have for a library and what you're specifically looking for. And if you're looking to build out your collection, it's a great way to do it. And they basically do the hard work for you. They find them, they clean them, they send them to you. You just got to tell them, what systems you're looking for.
It's nice when you don't have to clean a used game.
Now, if you do need to clean, make sure that you're using a 1-Up cleaning card. It is the best cleaner out there, endorsed by RoXolid Productions. You don't have to be that bright of a boy to realize.
You seeing him bright right now?
Well, you realize I'm wearing a hat because this would be blinding people with both of us.
Yeah.
So, and again, I just want to thank you guys for putting this on too. A lot of work goes into it, that many countless and thankless hours. And want to thank the Hair of the Dogcast crew for doing this, except for Tom, who broke up the broadcast halfway through. Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Tom. No, great to have you here, Gary. This is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely love it. Again, thanks to all the participants, the vendors, the crew that make this happen, because without each and every one of you, this show would not be as rock solid as it is. Ooh.
Rock solid.
Rock solid. That's all I got.
That's all I got. Well, thank you for coming on, Gary. We are Hair of the Dogcast. And everybody enjoy your Midwest Gaming Classic for the rest of the day. Go buy some imports. And make sure you get your mods and whatnot.
And 3D printed accessories.
And 3D print. Talk to this guy named Gary.
Discoons.
He knows a guy.
Amiibo stands, Switch display stands.
All right, we are checking out. Thank you, everybody.